Good day, colleagues. My name is Possible, and I will be your tutor for today. Today is lesson 1, and then we are going to focus on note taking and note making. So, our attention is quickly going to be driven to note taking and then note making. So we will first focus on the note taking, and then after the note taking, we are going to move on to the note making. And then from there, we will look at some of the advantages and the disadvantages of note taking and the note making. So number 1 is note taking. When you talk about note taking, we are saying that it is a careful recording or writing down of relevant information that one could hear during a meeting or a seminar. So anytime you go for a meeting, and then once the meeting is ongoing, you are jotting down some points, that becomes a note taking. So it means that note taking is a careful recording or writing down of relevant information that you could hear during a meeting or a seminar, or let me say someone could hear during a seminar. I hope it makes sense. So it's so simple, but you have to understand it. But when we look at note making, unlike the note taking, the note making is the extension of the note taking. The note making talks about you coming to sit down and then add more flesh to what you have already taken as a note. So under note making, you need to read to be able to add up to the already taken notes, and then make something out of the already taken notes. When you go for a lecture, and whilst the lecturer is teaching, you write down some points or some salient points, that becomes a note taking. But when you come to your various halls or your rooms of residence, and then you try and do a lot of research and add more flesh to what you have already written down, that one becomes note making. So we are saying that if the note taking is a child, then the note making is the mother. It is important that in note making, you take your time to write in a way that will be easy and comfortable to aid your understanding of the notes. So unlike the note taking, when you are making a note, you have to do a lot of research and add details to the already taken notes, and make sure that the understanding of the notes is now far better than the previous one you jotted. So that is what we are trying to say. It means that note making is the extension of note taking, and then note making needs a time to do so. Note making needs a time to do so, unlike the note taking. I hope it is well understood. Now, quickly, let us look at some of the advantages of note taking. Number one advantage of note taking is it helps you to get a lot of information at a time. It will definitely help you to get information at a time. It means that it is fast and easy. So anytime you talk about note taking, it is fast and easy. Because when you go for a lecture, and whilst the lecturer is teaching, you are taking notes. When the lecturer is teaching and then you are taking notes, it means that you don't write everything that he says or she says, but you write the salient points. And then because of that, it becomes fast and easy. And then the next one is that it helps with easy comprehension. Once you have written only the salient points, it means that anytime you pick it, you are going to understand it easy or comprehend it easy. You are not supposed to read much before you get to know what you have written down. Unlike the note making, that you have to read a lot or lengthy passage that you have put down before you understand what you have actually written. Note taking, as soon as you look at it, you get to understand it because it is only the salient points that have been written down. That is the advantages of note taking. Quickly, let us look at some of the disadvantages of note taking. We are saying that one of the disadvantages is the fact that note taking narrows the knowledge and concept on a given topic or case. It means that when you go for a lecture, and then the lecturer is teaching, it is not everything that you are going to put down. You are going to put only the salient points down. Now, because you are putting only the salient points down, it means that most of the things that the lecturer is going to say, you are going to skip them or throw them away and then pick only the salient points. If that be the hypothesis or the case, it means that the note taking that you'll be doing at your lecture hall will only narrow the knowledge and the concepts of what the lecturer is saying. So we are saying that it narrows the knowledge and concept on a given topic or case. And then the second point under this disadvantage is that, yes, indeed, the concept is that you are taking the salient points. But the argument is that it is not all the salient points that will actually be captured. Because you are not writing exactly as what the lecturer is saying. And then you are taking the salient points out of your own understanding or from your point of view. It might be that what you take it to be a salient point might not necessarily be a salient point in the concept of the lecturer. So you might write A down as a salient point of which when you come home you will learn it. But from the lecturer's point of view, A might not be a salient point of which he will base his exams questions. So we are saying that yes, indeed, it is fast and easy to understand. But as a matter of fact, not all salient points are captured. So quickly, let us look at some of the advantages of note making. And then from there, we move on. We are saying that when it comes to note making, number one is that it better enhances comprehension and retention than the note taking. It better enhances comprehension and retention than note taking. This means that once after you have taken the note in the lecture rooms, when you come back to your hall of residence or your room, and then you do a lot of research, you pick your textbook, you go to internet or library, or the reading, suggested reading materials, and then you add flesh or match details to the already taken notes, then your understanding on the concepts shall be broadened. So we are saying that it better enhances comprehension and retention than the note taking. Because the note making is a deliberate act, it shall automatically prepare you. I hope it makes sense. The next advantage, the next merit or advantage is the fact that it helps to correct mistakes during note taking. So when you are doing note taking, the mistakes that you commit, when you are doing note making, it helps you to correct them. Because once you do a very detailed research, you will get to know that, oh, okay, when I was taking the notes, I thought it is like this. But after doing the rigorous analysis and then the detailed research, I have seen that this is what it is supposed to be. And then because of that, let me clean the already taken notes and write the appropriate one. I hope it makes sense. So we are saying that it helps to correct mistakes during note taking. Number 3 is that it helps to get a lot of information. So note making helps to get a lot of information because you are doing detailed research from different sources in order to add flesh to what you are doing. Then automatically you will get a lot of information from different areas. So it helps to get a lot of information. Point number 4 says that it helps to summarize. It helps to summarize. Now, you have taken the notes and now you are coming to add up a flesh to what you have already taken. Because you are doing a lot of research from different areas, it helps you to understand the concept and then write it in your own words and summarize it. That is what I mean. So note making also helps in summarizing the note that has already been taken. The next one is the disadvantages of note making. Yes, indeed, we are saying that it is a detailed one. If it is a detailed one, then there's no doubt that it is time consuming. It takes time. So we are saying that it is time consuming. It takes time to prepare it. Because you are picking information from different sources and then taking your time to write them down and arrange them orderly or arrange them according to your preference. We are saying that it will take your time. The next one is that it is difficult to be done. Yes, indeed. Sometimes the semester could end, and then you see some students not having a notes just because they couldn't sit down and then make notes from what they learned in the various lecture rooms. So it takes discipline to make notes. It is not easy at all. Even in our contemporary societies, it is very difficult for pastors to sit down and make notes and come and preach. When they come to the pulpit or when they resume the pulpit, the only thing they could do is to open the quotation. Today we are going to read from John chapter 3 verse 16, and then he starts preaching. They hardly, sometimes, and some of them hardly get time to make notes. But we are saying that that is the best one. It also involves wide research. So because you are making the notes and you want it to be the best, you shall definitely consult other reading materials. So you do a lot of research. Now quickly let us look at some of the features or properties or qualities of a good note. So when you talk about qualities, we are talking about properties or features. So we are saying that one, the subject matter of the note should be straightforward and clear. Now, if you are writing a note, you have to bear in mind that the subject matter, if you are writing on teenage pregnancy, the subject matter is teenage pregnancy. So go straight to teenage pregnancy. Don't start with overspeeding, road accident before you come to teenage pregnancy. No. Go straight to teenage pregnancy. You define teenage pregnancy. If you have statistics, you give on teenage pregnancy. If you have any data or analysis you want to add up, you add up. Then from there you go to causes. You go to effects. And then you look at solution. So the subject matter of the note is teenage pregnancy. So we are not going to add anything that is different or contrary to this subject matter. And then 2, it should reflect what can be found at the source. Anytime you are making a note, if it is a Q lab book that you pick, after writing the note must not be independent from the source. The note has to reflect the source. It means that what you have written must not deviate from the source where you pick the information from. So some of you who writes down something of which your lecturer has not said it, you have to be careful, right? So number 3, we say that it must be readable and comprehensive. Anytime you are writing a note, though, it is for you alone, it is for yourself alone. But it should be in such a way that if anyone requests for it, the person also will be able to read it and understand. I had a friend, anytime you take his notebook and you want to read it, you have to sit him down beside you and then let him be teaching you what he has actually written there. When he writes there and you don't take care, you say that. If he writes peace and you don't take care, you might see it to be pace. So we are saying that, yes, though you are writing it for yourself, but it must be readable and comprehensive. If anyone picks the book, that person should be able to read it. Another feature is that it should be presented in a logical manner. When you talk about logical manner, we are saying that it's supposed to be arranged in a way which is systematic. From here, we come to here. From here, we come to here. We start with the definition of teenage pregnancy. We give background overview. We give statistics or data or history. From there, we come to causes of teenage pregnancy. We come to effect of teenage pregnancy. And then we come to the solution or the how to curb that situation or mitigate it. So it's systematic. It follows a logical approach. I hope it makes sense. So that is the features of note-taking. I will project the guides to note-making to you. It is important, but it is less important. So I'm not going to emphasize that. But you can write it down. And then from there, we look at the next one. So we are saying it should be presented in a logical manner. Should be presented in a logical manner. So quickly, let us look at the guides to note making. Guides to note making. It means guidelines. We have extra or paralinguistic. We are saying that these do not involve the use of words. They include the tone of voice and gestures. If you want to emphasize something, you use the voice. Sometimes some lecturers do that. If they want you to know that this point is salient, they emphasize it. So when you take note on that and you come, make sure to do much research on that because it will drop in your quizzes or your exams. That is a good quality of a teacher or a lecturer. So they normally do it. So as soon as you see that they are hitting that point, it means that you have to go and do research on that. So we can use tones, tonation. And then we can also, the second one is the linguistic features. These are the verbal aspects, right? These are the verbal aspects. Okay, so the use of fuzzy highlight and in order to emphasize the key point. That one is there. The use of enumerators or linking words, and that one also is there. You can write them down or take a screenshot of that and then you learn it. It is important, but it is less important. So we are moving on, and then we are moving on to methods of note making. Methods of making notes. I think that is where we are ending. We are looking at undiagrammatic and diagrammatic. Number one, we are talking about undiagrammatic. Number two, we are talking about diagrammatic. So when you talk about the undiagrammatic, what does it mean? We are saying that with the undiagrammatic, it involves the use of the blocks or proofs formed with no specific pattern. A typical example is the summary. So it doesn't follow a specific or a particular pattern. You just write your title and then you move on with it. That is the undiagrammatic aspect. A typical example is a summary. You write everything together. It does not follow any pattern. So that one, it is well understood. And then the second one is diagrammatic. And then we are saying that they follow a specific formula. And then they are artistic in nature and also follow strict rules and principles. I hope it makes sense. So that is how it is. The items follow a particular order and are very formal. So diagrammatic, they are very formal. A typical example is the outlining. So the items follow a particular order and are very formal. So a typical example is outlining. So from here, you could see that you have gotten our summary from undiagrammatic method of making notes. If you want to make notes, after you have taken notes from the lecture room, if you want to make notes, right, then we can follow undiagrammatic approach or diagrammatic approach. Undiagrammatic approach is the summary. Diagrammatic approach is the outlining. So in our next video, much emphasis is going to be placed on the summary and the outlining. I hope it makes sense. So that is how it is. So today we look at notes taking and then notes making. Notes taking and then the notes making. Then we look at the advantages and then the disadvantages of note taking and then note making. We also look at the features or the properties or the qualities of note taking and then the note making. And then from there, we also look at some of the guides of note taking or making notes. And then we ended on the methods of making notes as undiagrammatic and diagrammatic. In our next lesson, we are going to focus on the outline. Once again, my name is Possible. And then until we meet again for another lesson, I think I can say bye-bye for now. Take care of yourself. I love you. Bye.